here. Yeah. So yeah, I just had an opportunity to pop on here real quick just before I call it a day. I got like a half hour or so I thought I'd come in for a quick one. The last stream, we were setting up Blender, getting our house in order, right? So setting up the structure and getting an understanding of how to put that foundation in so that we can start building the bits and pieces. So here I'm taking a look at the Blender scene. And remember, we created a variety of different assets. So if I come over here, or a variety of different scenes rather. So we've got our master scene, scene 1, and hopefully scene 2, scene 3, etc., etc. We've got our edit, which will be our video edit, and then our asset library. So in the asset library, I'm going to pop this open, and I'm going to go into my view layer. And I've gone ahead and created a, I shouldn't call that sets actually. So I've just gone in ahead and created a collection here. And we'll call this environments. I generally have environments as terrain and things like that, and sort of man-made objects sets, because those need to be prefabricated as sets. But, you know, in this case, working inside of computer graphics, there are various different ways you can create sets for objects, animation sets, rigging sets, etc. So it could get confusing. So I'll leave that as that. Now, here's the thing. I wanted to link a stadium asset over into my scene here. So I'll show you how this works. So inside my content collection under environments, under FBX, I have my library of FBX props. So I have a stadium prop here that I want to bring in to start constructing this animatic with. Unfortunately, went up here and went to link, and it looks like it only recognizes Blender files to link, right? Which is not a big deal. I was just hoping that, like Maya, inside of Maya, you can reference a MyASCII file or you can reference an FBX file. And you can do the same thing inside of Houdini and a few other different pieces of software where you can reference various different file formats. But it seems to me Blender only wants to link to other Blender files, which is cool. It just means that I'm going to have to come outside this and create a separate Blender file, which I will need to link to. I'm just having a quick look again to see if perhaps there's some file type filter that I'm missing here. Relative pathing, instance collections. Yeah, no, it looks like it only wants Blender files. So that's cool. That means I'm just going to save off my sort of master animatic layout file, and I'm going to create a new general. Actually, let's see if we can create a new. No, let's leave it as a new general file. I was going to create it as a sculpting file, but we don't want to do that just yet. So I'm going to come in here and let's delete that guy. And we've got one collection with cameras and lights. I'm going to call this the DOP, right? So that's my DOP collection. All lights and cameras will go inside there to keep that nice and neat. And I'll come in here and I'll right click and create a new collection. And this collection will be my environments, right? Or in this case, just the one environment. So inside here, I'm going to come over and file import. And here we've got the various different file formats that we support. So Alembic is the new sort of de facto file format that's used in visual effects and is rapidly sort of making headway in the games industry. We got BVH files, those are motion builder files. Collada, we played with the Collada file format a long time ago, but we really quickly migrated over to FBX. Scalable vector graphics files, that's been around for a dog's age. Never used this one, the STL file for 3D printing. There we go, FBX. FBX is the de facto standard. It really quickly overtook OBJ as the 3D interchange file format of choice, and this is what we're going to use. I've never heard of this one. And X3D Extensible. Don't really use that one as well. So FBX and Alembic are the two that are probably the most popular in terms of 3D asset data interchange. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to head on over to where I've got the sort of asset set up inside the content folder. And I usually keep a separate FBX folder as a sort of area where the final props are kind of exported to, right? So I'm going to import that FBX. Now we'll see how this works because, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. Because the prop originally was a 3D Studio Max prop, meaning it was developed with Z-axis up. So I believe Blender is Z-axis up, so this should come in okay. The whiteout happens because I clicked on the screen while it was processing data. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is, it's not freaking out or anything. You just have to wait. Once it's finished, it's caching, preload, whatever it's doing, it's going to pop back on and you'll see your stadium. There we go. So here is our stadium. Right? So this is cool. I just want to have a look around here. So let's see. Now I wanted to see if we had that entrance. There it is. Okay. So now there should be walking controls here, I think. Let's have a look. There wasn't there? That's the camera view. Yeah, I would like to find that at some point. Not the camera roll. But that's okay. We will come to that when we come to it. Now we can see that this particular environment is made up of a variety of different proxy pieces. And they came in all procedurally labeled. Let's see if we can find. Now it'd be interesting to be able to float over and pick individual pieces. Let's see. Where are you? There's that corner flag. And we've got a corner flag over there. Yeah, I'm after this piece. So, no. The frame. Ooh, that wasn't what I was after. That's the home key, though. All right. So, let's see if we can get even closer. Now that's going to be that whole prop. No, we don't want that. I'm just trying to, what was frame on object? Let's have a quick look here in terms of framing. That's zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so there we go. There's a very simple functionality that I didn't think I'd need. This oftentimes happens when you're learning a new piece of software. So I'm just going to come over here and just do a quick Blender frame on object. How to focus on a selected object. Let's see. Without knowing the specifics, try pressing period on your keyboard's numeric keypad. Focus on the selected object. You can press. Let's try that. So, numeric keypad, period. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I wanted to have a look. Actually, that's ground level. Oh, yeah, okay. Very, very curious. No, so I just wanted to see if we could stage something up in by there. But wow, it looks like. I might have to stick marker pieces or, oh, there was a shift right click, wasn't there? Yeah. And then that now becomes, or should now become, the 3D navigation cursor. So I'm going to hit the N key and the view properties, lock the 3D cursor, and that. There we go. That's what I was after. Okay. Well, it's looking good. It came in terms of coming in Z up, so I'm quite happy about that. So I want to take a look at this stairwell, because this stairwell is going to sort of feature heavily in the beginning, right? So I wanted to make sure. Yes, that's cool. I love it. All right, so now that I've got that set up, a little bit of clunky navigation going on there. I'm still trying to figure out the hotkeys and things like that. So that's cool. Let's pop it into our content environments. And in this case, instead of going into the FBX file, let's pop into the Stadium folder. And inside of here, I'm going to call this Stadium 1. And that's where all the initial 3D Studio Max files are located as well. But let's pop it in there for now. Now, I wonder if there's a quick way of flipping from scene to scene. Probably not. Okay, so that's all in the environments container. That makes me happy. And I'm just going to pop over to Open Recent. Let's pop back into the trailer. That was fast. And I'm going to come in and file link. So why am I choosing link? Well, because I may want to go into this Stadium later and make a few changes. Okay. So I am going to have to find something specific that I want to link to. I don't want to do that. I'd like to link to the entire file. I wonder if I just grab that blend file and click link. Will that work? No. It's going to pop me in here. So it wants to link to specifics inside this folder. Can I do something like this? That seems really kind of hectic. Oh, I don't know if I like that. That really was not what I expected to happen. So let's rethink this. Didn't seem to come through anyway. So that's quite unusual. Okay, well, let's try this again. So I want to come in here and we want to link. No, I don't want to do that. I want to link to the entire Stadium 1 blend file. And it looks like it doesn't want to do that for me. So how about this? Let's pop in. There's probably some sort of... Let's not save those changes. I don't want to save those. So there's got to be some way of pre-prepping this so that all these guys kind of... So I'm thinking in terms of a merge or an object merge or something like that, so I can just select the one object. But now I'm starting to think I might have to import this into my asset collection. I don't really want to do that. So here's our scene collection. How do we get our scene collection linked in? Because I thought we could just kind of run through this really quick and just do a real quick kind of referencing. In a lot of ways, it's good. It's good that you can, when you activate the link function, it'll parse through the blend file and dial down to the individual folders. But in this case, it's not suiting what I need at the moment for what I want to do. So these are the individual objects themselves, which I don't think I can link simply the folder. Yeah, it's getting me right in there. So if those are the objects, then what's the mesh? Now what we could probably do, I'm just having a quick explore. Those are the world. And these are the textures. There's none. The scene. I wonder if we can link the scene in. Nope. I thought that would do it. It looks like we'll probably have to. I reckon that's probably a blank scene. Oh yeah, of course it is a blank scene. Oh, unless. Let's try this. So I'm going to pop over again into Stadium. Won't save that. Now, I wonder if we come in here and we go to scenes, we've got that one scene, and if we call this DMV1, no, let's Stadium 1, right? Let's keep that naming convention. And those are our objects. Okay, so that makes sense. So we do want to bring our object layer in. Can I rename this? No. Okay, so let's save that guy off. Now there should be a meta tag for that, so we should see stadium, but it didn't seem to bring it in. So let's see. So I'm going to flip back over to the trailer, and we'll come in here. Can I right-click link from here? No. So it wants me to go in here, and we'll link this way. And let's pop up into. So those are all our objects. Stadium 1, the scene. And I'm just checking to see what it actually did, right? So if we go to the view layer, it's not in there. If we go to scenes, well, we have the stadium scene. Aha! And we got the link icon. It is there. But we want it inside our asset library. Okay, so that's not necessarily going to work. Can we drag this in there? No, we can't. That's pretty interesting. So inside my head, I'm having this internal debate. So I can either link everything I need into the scenes area, but that's a little bit clunky. Or I can just manually, let's try that. Let's manually link objects inside the environment folder. I want to see what I get. Let's pop in here. So linking, not all that straightforward. Appending, importing, and exporting, and yeah. Okay, let's go back up into our object menu, and can we just bring all these guys in? Let's try that. Nice little shift select. Where is the scroll bar? Why is there no scroll bar? Or is there? Ah, there is, and I can't see it. That's it. So, let's link all those guys in. There we go. Okay, so that's in my scene collection inside my environments in my asset library. Let's see what that looks like when we pop back out. Let's go into our. Actually, it's not too bad. This is our scene collection. Can I rename this guy? Can't rename that. All right, so we got our environments here. You know what? I probably want to come in here, create another container, right? Because I could do with a few. Let's create a new collection, and in here, let's call this. You know what? Let's pop up here. Call this guy Stadium 1, because all the stuff is in there, right? I'm going to come down here, call this environments, right? And then can we take this guy now and plop him in there? Perfect. Not bad. Now, just to clean things up, I want to head back over to my scenes layer, and I want to grab. Oh, it's cleaned it out. Why is it cleaned it out? That's really interesting. Okay. So we're inside here. We've lost our stadium linked scene file. That's interesting. But these guys are in here. Oh, I think I know why. So if we pop back over to the asset library, do we suddenly get... let's go back to the view layer. There's our scene collection inside of there. And I'm going to go back to here, and we'll hit up our asset library. Now these guys all have the link icon, so that's really cool. The only thing that makes me nervous about this, guys, is I've linked the objects, but I don't know if... Okay, so what happens if you need all this other stuff with it, right? So let's say what happens if we want the camera to come through, or some of the lights, right? So we got a bunch of lights here. They all have to be kind of linked in manually as well. Okay. So that is a little bit of a pain. Again, because it would be nice to bring that whole self-contained container over. I'm going to look it up. This just doesn't make sense to me that Blender would not support this. That doesn't make sense, right? There has to be a way, because of what I know of how the majority of pipelines work, and I know that the developers of Blender have industry experience. I don't have to look it up. You can just tell by the way the software has been developed that they're aware of how a pipeline works. So that sounds insulting, but it's not actually, because they're more than just aware. It's obvious that they've worked on quite a number of professional projects, because it reflects in the way they've designed their software, which I think is excellent, right? So by no means I'm just trying to rush ahead with my thoughts and trying to get them out, because I'm thinking about this as I'm talking about it. And I do know that packaging assets up and being able to reference the whole thing into a piece of software is the general ethos of production, right? So this is why the FBX file format was created, because it not only brought in geometry, it brought in cameras, it brought in animation. The whole Alembic file contains more than just your geometry cache. And then the new Universal Scene Descriptor format from Pixar is all about a layered hierarchy where you can bring in either individual items or the whole thing. So why would Blender suddenly not allow you to bring in a blend file that's linked to the original? It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to have a look and see what I dig up. Well, in the meantime, I did want to pop in here real quick and show you just one of the initial stages of bringing assets in, right? So layout generally, the layout department generally does not deal with bespoke assets per se, right? So you bring in models from here, from the modeling department, characters from there who've been rigged, and animation data from there, and you generally piece it all together. But you don't import the assets because the other departments could still be working on it, right? So animators could still be animating, modelers could still be modeling, and then I'd come in the next day, open up my layout file, and all the updated models would, boom, suddenly appear, because again, the assets are not in my scene. They are linked to the originals. So every time I reopen the scene file, it'll just update, grab everybody's changes, and away you go, right? So this is the importance of working in a linked pipeline or using referenced file assets. So I will leave it at that. I'm going to investigate why I cannot link an entire blend file in, and I'll get back to you on that. In the meantime, have a good night. I'm off to the store. I'm going to pick up a couple of bottles, and I'm going to sit down and play Call of Duty Modern Warfare tonight.